Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
This video might look different than other videos on this channel because I am shooting this video for my backup channel, intentionally using all the templates and forms that I use on my main channel. So there will be an opening screen and the Canadian robot lady and then me, and at the end there's going to be two end screens. And the reason I'm doing this is I wanted to do a video about this topic, but it's not something that really belongs on my main channel in the sense that I think a lot of people would think it's self-indulgent or something, but I wanted to shoot this video so I can put it up, and in the future, I can send a link to it to people who didn't catch it. Because what I'm talking about right now is about once a month or so, I get an email from somebody who's very upset with me, and it's almost always somebody I've never talked to before. And they're upset because they live in another state, and they've got a case that I've told them I won't take. And I get these emails from time to time, and they go something like, and I'm going to kind of just conglomerate all of them into a basic generic email, but it's something to the effect of, hey, I watch your videos, and I live in Idaho, and I've got a case I want you to handle. And I write them back and I say, I can't handle your case because I'm not licensed in Idaho. I'm only licensed in Michigan. And then I'll often get an angry email back that says, well, then why do you have videos where you claim you help people all over the country? And I write them back and say, I never said I help people all over the country. I repeatedly say I'm only licensed in Michigan and I can't help people outside the state of Michigan. And by the way, if your case isn't a lemon law case, I can't help you either because I only practice lemon law. I don't do non-lemon law cases. I just don't. And I try not to get into a back and forth with people because it's not going to help. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not going to decide to go practice law in another state based on one angry email written by a stranger. But that happens often enough to where I need to point this out. And I've discussed this before. I've mentioned it in live streams and I've mentioned it in passing on this channel. But here's the deal, okay? And this is extremely important to understand. That first of all, my email itself is something that gives me the willies. And I've mentioned this before. I have, unfortunately, a website with an email address on it. And I know some people go, Steve, don't do that. Well, then people can't find your email address. And I know if you have one of those contact forms, guess what? Same thing. I mean, so I personally get hundreds, if not thousands of emails a day. So when I dig through my email, you have to understand that I get tons of spam, lots of spam. I've joked about the spam before, okay? In fact, I got a can of spam back here someplace in honor of the spam. Oh, the spam, I took it off the set, sorry. Spam's over there. My set spills off camera. And I get tons and tons of spam. So I have to dig through the spam. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of the spam is in my garbage, but I got to glance at the garbage, make sure nothing good got thrown away. So there's tons and tons of spam in there. But the first thing I'm always looking for is I'm looking for actual emails from my actual clients, because those I have to respond to quickly, and I want to respond and see what questions are answered. And I deal with the email from my clients. I also get emails from other people I deal with or I work with. It may not be clients. They might be people I work with on YouTube. They might be people I work with on my books, okay? Professional colleagues. So I go through my email looking for those kinds of emails, clients and other people I work with. Then I also do go through my email looking for potential clients, people who are in Michigan who have cases that are lemon law or potentially lemon law. I look for those emails so I can respond to those. I also go through and I glance at an email if it's from out of state, if there's a Michigan connection. Because the way the Michigan lemon law is written is if you buy a brand new vehicle in Michigan but live elsewhere, the lemon law might help you. But those don't happen very often, but I glance to see that's a possibility. And then I'm also just looking in general for potential clients. Because I'm a lawyer, I'm looking for clients. But one of the things that happens is I see a lot of emails from out of state. And I write people back and I say, I'm sorry, but I'm not licensed in your state. I can't help you. And most people take that at face value, and they should. But the weird part is that if I were to try to practice outside the state of Michigan, number one, I could lose my law license. And number two, I could go to jail. Because in most states, practicing law without a license is illegal. Now, I've had several people, and I raised this during live streams, go, hey, Steve, maybe you didn't know this. There's a thing called pro hoc vice where you can get admitted into another state. No, I know that. Of course I know that. I went to law school. Pro hoc vice is where, let's suppose you were in Wyoming. Pick a state I haven't mentioned yet. You're in Wyoming, and you want to hire an attorney from Michigan. And you call up an attorney in Michigan, I need an attorney, I need you to help me in Wyoming. The attorney in Michigan goes, I can't help you. I'm not licensed in Wyoming. A pro hoc vice. Oh, do you know what that means? That means that you hire me to come to Wyoming, and you have to hire an attorney in Wyoming who will basically be my co-pilot. And so when I go into court, that attorney's got to vouch for me. And by the way, there's a bunch of paperwork you got to do. And you got to go in front of the court and say, I want to sponsor this guy, pro hoc vice, to get him to come in here and help us with his case. And if a judge allows it, then the judge allows the two of us to work on the case, but this person's here to make sure that I don't screw up on the rules and technicalities of Wyoming courts. So, yes, theoretically, you can hire an attorney from another state, but you also got to hire a local one. So your cost just doubled at the very least. And I've never had anyone actually say to me, and that's what I want to do. They always say, can you help me in my state? Implying by yourself. The answer is no, I cannot. And I've had, as I've mentioned before, people say, but Steve, what if you were here? What would you say? I cannot tell you what I would say if I was there because I'm not there. And if I did tell you what I thought, then what happens is if you take my advice and screw up and you say, some attorney in Michigan gave me bad advice, boom, I'm right back where I wanted to not be. Getting in trouble for dispensing legal advice in another state. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so the crazy part about all of this, okay, I'm digging through the emails. I'm looking for my friends, looking for my professional associates. I'm looking for potential clients. I'm digging through these emails, and then I get the one that says, I'm in another state. I need you to help me. No connection to Michigan. And I say, I cannot help you. Then I get an email saying, why do you put up all these videos claiming to help people in other states? I'm not sure what you're talking about. But I can tell you that the end screen of the videos, including this one, the second one, and I'm going to read it to you, Steve Lehto is an attorney in Michigan and, all caps, cannot handle cases in other states. Period. Now you might say, but Steve, that's harsh. What now? Oh, read the next sentence. Consult an attorney in your own state if you have any legal questions. So I can't help you, but someone in your state can. There you go. Now, I have to point out 3 things below that. Statements in this video are not intended as legal advice. So don't say, I'm in court today and I'm taking advice of that guy on YouTube, because the guy on YouTube's videos aren't legal advice. It also says a phrase in Latin, and some people have caught it, some have not, but it's Latin for beware of low-flying owls. And then, of course, there's the copyright symbol, Steve Lehto 2025, and all rights reserved. Okay. But the point is, Steve Lehto is an attorney in Michigan and cannot handle cases in other states. And despite the existence of that end screen at the end of my videos, I get people constantly asking me for help in other states. And I say, I cannot help you. And instead of saying, oh, thank you, or, oh, do you know somebody who can? They get mad at me and say, then, well, why do you put up all these videos? The videos don't say, hey, I can help you, click here. It's not what it says. Probably says, don't buy an RV, which, by the way, is sound advice, but it has nothing to do with the law. That's just sound living advice, okay? It's like that Jim Croce song, the list of things not to do. He's not giving legal advice. He's just talking about things you shouldn't do. Don't spit into the wind. Don't buy an RV. Not sure why he didn't put that in the song. Maybe he thought that was too obvious. Probably did. But the point is, I cannot help people in other states. I wish I could, but I can't. So I will tell you that some people very nicely say, I'm sorry, I was hoping you could. Do you know somebody in another state who can help me? Now, here's the problem. We've got 50-ish states, give or take. And I don't know attorneys in lots of them. There's a lot of states I don't know anybody. However, I can tell you the 3 basic guidelines I go off of. In Ohio, I know an attorney named Ron Burge, B-U-R-D-G-E, Burge, Ron Burge, good friend of mine. He handles lemon law cases and sometimes RV cases. And so if people call me, especially from Ohio, and they say, you can't help me, who can? I say, give Ron a call. Now, I'm not speaking for him. I'm not guaranteeing he'll take your case. If he won't take your case, don't call me back and go, hey, Steve, you lied. You said he'd take my case. No, I didn't. I said, I can't help you. Maybe he can help you. I can also tell you that if you go to the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, out that way, there's a law firm called Kimmel and Silverman who handle a lot of lemon law cases. I've spoken to them before. Very, very good, extremely good results. They handle cases in a bunch of states that direction. I'm not sure the full extent of those cases or those states, but if you're in that region of the country, back east, as we say, and you want help from me and I can't do it, look up Kimmel and Silverman, Kimmel, Kimmel and Silverman. And then I'm going to let you know that I've also told people to call my good friends here in Michigan, Romano and Stancroft. Romano, R-O-M-A-N-O, Stancroft, S-T-A-N-C-R-O-F-F, Romano and Stancroft. And Mark Romano and Steve Stancroft are friends of mine. They're here in Michigan. And in Michigan, we compete against each other, but it's a friendly competition. We both do lemon law in Michigan. However, they have set up a network of attorneys around the country, but they, I believe, have attorneys in about half the states, but not all the states. And I don't have the list of the states. Besides, they're always adding states or subtracting states, and so I haven't got time to track that. But if you're in a state that is not Ohio, not back east, and you can't find an attorney, look up Romano and Stancroft, and they might cover your state. But if you're in one of the states that none of these people cover, and it's not in Michigan, what you got to do if you have a lemon law case is type in the name of your state and lemon law attorney. So if you're in Utah, I don't know if Romano and Stancroft are in Utah or not. Go Utah lemon law attorney and see what pops up. And somebody will pop up. I'm almost certain of it. And if not, then I'm sorry, but there must not be enough in your state to actually, keep a couple lemon law attorneys working. So that's always a problem. But that's really what you need to do. And I've had people call me or contact me or email me or message me or whatever, and they'll say, Steve, I know this isn't the kind of law you practice, but can you give me any pointers in finding an attorney? Because here's my problem. And I've read emails like that, and I said, oh, what you're describing appears to be an employment law situation. What you're asking about appears to be a dram shop case. What you're talking about appears to be a such and such case. And sometimes a lawyer will know a certain phrase that will help you with your search. But many lawyers have set their websites up in such a way that they anticipate the searches people are doing, and they try to put those keywords in their website someplace for the search engine optimization. Don't get me going on that, but they do that. However, I've sent someone a note back and said, hey, here's what I would do. Not as legal advice, but here's the search you should be doing. And search for an attorney this way. And I just now had an inkling somebody somewhere is going to complain and go, yeah, he gave me advice on how to do a search and he was wrong. I don't think that's legal advice, though. That's more general advice as to how to find somebody. And just so you know, a lot of local bar organizations have referral services. In Michigan, the Oakland County Bar Association and the State Bar of Michigan both have referral services where you can call them and say, hey, look, here's the problem I've got. Can you find me an attorney? And they will have lists of attorneys who handle different specialties. They just do. So that's that. But again, if you see the end screen of my video, it says specifically, I'm only licensed in Michigan. I cannot practice law outside of the state. If I did, I'd get in trouble with my license, and I theoretically am breaking the law by doing that, which is why I won't do it. So I can't do it. And I've had people go, oh, come on. I know this is the internet where people just kind of go a little further with how they would normally behave, but I've been practicing law for 34 years. I'm not going to risk all of that so I can give advice to somebody in another state that I can't help. So there you go. Again, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. On the form where it says, in case of emergency, notify, I put doctor.